Good afternoon, everyone. We're ready to get started. I'm going to hand over to Rhea to start with a short introduction. Rhea, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you. Donc, bonjour tout le monde. Moi, je vais introduire le webinaire en français, si vous le permettez. Donc, c'est juste pour attirer votre attention à quelques nouveautés que nous avons introduites au niveau de l'accès aux ressources électroniques. Il s'agit de l'accès à distance. Donc, désormais, il est possible de créer son compte d'accès à distance par soi-même. Donc, il y a un formulaire mis à votre disposition que nous allons poster le lien sur le chat. Donc, vous allez pouvoir le voir. Lucia, please, can you activate the chat for us to send messages to all the attendees?
The chat is activated.
It activates only for you and the panelist, for me. I hope Karima has the hand to share the link. Donc, on va partager avec vous le lien. Donc, aujourd'hui, on va commencer cette série de formations sur Scopus avec Elsevier. Donc, nous allons voir plusieurs sessions qui sont déjà affichées sur notre site www.imist.ma, sur notre page Facebook, facebook.com/imist-CNRST. Donc, vous pouvez nous suivre. Toutes les formations sont assurées en langue anglaise par Madame Lucia, l'une des meilleures expertes chez Elsevier. Donc, vous allez avoir beaucoup d'informations comme d'habitude, mais vous allez profiter de son expertise pour demander plus d'explications et d'informations. Donc, comme j'ai annoncé, le programme global, il est déjà en ligne et les affiches seront annoncées à fur et à mesure. Elles contiennent le lien et toutes les informations et les détails relatifs à chaque session. Donc, je vous invite à nous suivre pour pouvoir vous connecter et nous suivre sur ces webinaires. Toutes les annonces sont également partagées avec vos universités, les correspondants dont nous avons les coordonnées. Donc, nous les remercions pour leur collaboration et leur soutien à partager toutes les informations sur ces formations. Donc, nous serons là, la panéliste, pour répondre à toutes vos questions et toutes les questions qui concernent l'utilisation, bien sûr, et les questions spécialisées. C'est Lucia qui va se charger d'en répondre. N'hésitez pas à poser vos questions sur la rubrique questions et réponses et nous allons les prendre en charge. Donc, je vous remercie pour votre participation et bonne formation. Et dernier point, les certificats sont prévus, les attestations de participation. On va en parler à la fin, comment vous allez les recevoir. Donc, Lucia, can you start, please? I finished my presentation, my intro.
Thank you very much, Rhea, and welcome from my side. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Lucia Scumbi, Senior Customer Consultant for Research Intelligence for Elsevier. I'm based in South Africa. My specialization area is in Scopus and Cyval and other of our research intelligence solutions, which I've been working with for more than 9 years at the moment. So I'm very pleased to be with you today. This is the beginning of the year, so we want to make sure everybody's ready for Scopus for the year. And today we're going to look at some of the fundamentals and some of the new things. But before we go there, I'm not sure. I thought I had activated the chat, but it doesn't look like it is. So please use the Q&A box if you want to communicate with us, and we'll keep track of that. Thank you very much. So just to make sure that you do know that we are recording this session, and we will make it available after the session on the website which I will share with you at the end of our session. And there are also certificates available. So have your camera ready, because we've got a QR code and you can, copy that and then get access to your certificate. So looking, before we go into today's session, I just want to, so this is on the right-hand side, but we have upcoming webinars as well. So to keep a lookout for those, we will be covering a number of topics about Scopus until mid-year, and then we will bring out a new set of webinars. So next week already, we will be focusing on a new topic, which is the literature review. For today's session, I'm going to do fundamentals of Scopus. Just as a recap, many of you already know Scopus well. This is a refresher. I'm going to focus on one use case. I'm going to do a document search or a literature search, but I'll try to touch on all the most important functionalities in Scopus. And then as we go along, I will also highlight some of the new features. So these are not always very new features, but they are less used or less familiar features. So I want to make sure everybody knows about them and also understands, you know, what they mean and how you can use them. So these new features include preprints, policy references, indications where publications link to sustainable development goals, and also searching by open access statuses, right? So before we get to that, I'm just going to do very quickly a few slides before we go online. Just to recap on what is a Scopus, I'm going to switch off my camera now to have more bandwidth, right? So just, you know, what is Scopus? It is a global multidisciplinary database for discovering academic literature. And it's also a visualization tool, which you can analyze your search results and find metrics about publication so that you can also measure research performance, right? So mentioning that this is a subscription-based database, but it is source neutral. Source neutral means that Scopus covers a large number of publishers. I will show you, let me just see, my mouse is stuck. Right, so you can see here that we are covering more than 7,000 publishers, and that includes then serial titles as well as books. So a large number of serial titles. The number of active serial titles, journal titles, is now more than 27,000. We have more than 250,000 books in Scopus, and all of these publications are also linked to an author, and it's linked to an affiliation, right? So it aggregates, it pulls together all the publications of an institution as well as of an author profile of authors, and it uses an algorithm to do that. So it does that automatically. In one of the subsequent webinars, we will talk about author profiles specifically and how to correct an author profile. So I'm not going to focus on that today. I'm going to focus more on these 90 million items that we have in Scopus. These are the publications, and that is what I will focus on today. On the right-hand side, you can see all the different use cases of SciVal. So you can use SciVal Scopus to find journals, to analyze journals. You can look at a researcher's impact. You can decide or find other researchers or authors to collaborate with. The focus today is going to be on finding the current research. So what has been published in a specific research area? That is our focus today. So just more about Scopus. I'm not going to talk about all these numbers. It's important to know that Scopus covers journals and the articles in the journals and conferences, books, and patents. Patents, it covers where a publication is linked to a patent. It's not a patent database in itself, but you can find patent information as well, right? So these are the different document types that are available in Scopus. And then on the left-hand side, you can see it's multidisciplinary. So it covers all the broad subject areas: physical sciences, health sciences, social sciences, and life sciences, right? So multidisciplinary, covering different types of publications And for the rest, I'll go online into Scopus itself, and then we'll start with the fundamentals. Right, so I'm just going to share my browser. Before I go, is there a question that I should attend to now at this stage? That doesn't look like it. Okay, so I'll continue because we don't have a lot of time. Right, so this is the Scopus homepage. You get access to your Scopus homepage via your university. It's also available via EMIST, which is bringing Scopus to you, basically. What I want to say in terms of using Scopus, before we get started, I'm going to use an example. I hope you will like, because it will bring back good memories for you. But in terms of using Scopus optimally, it is important to sign on. So I'm already signed on. You can see my profile is active, LS. If I click on here, there's a sign out. If you are not signed in, it will show sign on. They will show an option to sign on to Scopus, sorry. So if you sign on, you will have access to more functionality. In the sign on mode, which is basically when you're using it as a registered user, you can save your results. You can save your searches. You can set up alerts. And you can set up your preferences for exporting as well, right? So if you are not signed on, these functionalities are not available to you. And, as you can think, these are very useful so that you don't have to recreate your search strategy every time you want to do a search. So I'm going to use Cybol with an example to show you the fundamentals of finding publications in a research area. As you can see from the homepage, the screen, it's optimized for searching. It says start exploring, and you can start exploring either documents, authors, or affiliations, right? So I'm going to start with documents. The authors and the affiliations is a grouping of the publications, but by author or by institution. And when you do an author search, you go directly to the author profile that you're looking for, or to the affiliation profile. So we're not going to cover that today. We'll cover that in other webinars. We're going to focus on documents. Documents means academic papers. It can be journal articles. It can be book chapters, conference proceedings. Because there are so many types of academic publications, we just call them documents. And when you do your search, you can search in many fields. So every research article is indexed into different fields, and you can search in those specific fields. So if I click on the arrow, you can see all the different fields. So if you want to search if you're quite confident that your keyword must be in the title of the articles, you can use article title as the field that you want to do your search in. If you want to have a broader search, you keep with article title, abstract, and keywords. That is also the default. So my search query that I'm going to have is about football, because I think Morocco is now very famous for football. And so football or soccer is my example, and I'm going to combine that with other search terms. For instance, specifically, I want to look at injury. So basically, when you do your search terms, or you start your search, you divide your search into different concepts. So the first concept is football. The second concept that we're looking for is injuries around football. So I'll use the asterisk. And asterisk is one of the operators that help you to be more accurate in your search. And if you want to find more of these operators, you go to search tips, and you will learn more about these operators, which are very useful. I'm going to add another keyword or concept here. I'll do, say, hamstring, for example, just to make my search a little bit more narrow. I can't just do football and then we'll have thousands of publications, right? So we've got 3 concepts. We've got football, we've got injury, and we've got the specific part of the body, hamstring. And with that, I'll just activate the search and wait for the results. So you will see that I'm using the new layout of the Scopus interface, right? In the previous layout, you saw only the results. You didn't see the actual search page as well as the results. It's just a slight difference. Everything that was on the old layout is still on the new layout. It's just a little bit differently organized. But I'm just mentioning, in case this looks a little bit different to you, this is the new layout. So I'm just going to scroll down because now I can see my results on the same page. It's already starting on the same page. And the first thing that you can see is that we've got 1,066 documents, publications that were found. And here on the left-hand side, we've got this filter panel. The filter panel helps you to refine your search query according to more specific variables or more specific aspects of the search that you would want to focus on. And one of these is that you can filter by open access, right? So open access, all of these different categories do not affect you as a searcher. Open is open. Open access means that it is full text, but some research managers or in the institutional planning for a university are actually interested in the different types of open access. It doesn't influence the author. When you find an open access publication, whether it's green, gold, or bronze, it doesn't affect, how open it is. It will be available full text. But what the significance is of this is that Scopus is a bibliographic database. So the default is that it does not include full text. But if the author published with the option of open access, which actually means that the author pays a fee upfront, an article processing fee upfront to make sure that this article is available, full text for everybody, then it will become, then only is it available in full text in Scopus, right? So you can see of the 1,066 publications we found, there are 458, which are open access. And what these other functionality, these other categories mean, the green means that when the author published the accepted manuscript version of the publication was added to an institutional repository. So many universities have repositories. They keep track of the researchers' publications. You cannot put a published version unless it's open access in your repository, but you can put your article or your accepted author version. You can add to the institutional repository, and all publications that are in institutional repositories are called green open access. If it's gold, it means that the article was published in a journal where the whole journal is open access, right? So if you have say, you have a journal title like Nature Cancer, and they only publish open access, that means that the journal is open access and the article is also gold open access. And then bronze is where the publisher made a decision, where they used their discretion to make an article open access. So it could be because it's in the interest of public health, or to accommodate an author, or they have many reasons why they would decide we are going to, at no cost, make this article open access or freely, full text for everyone to see. Hybrid gold means that you publish in a journal that is a subscription-based journal, but you pay an additional fee asking that your specific article is made open access. So it could be in a journal where the other publications are not open access, they're not full text, but your article in that journal is full text. Right. So these are the different categories of open access, and we make this available mostly for administrative uses, where administration wants to keep track of what types of open access is used, but for the user, for the researcher, for the author looking for literature, these categories are no different to each other. They just mean that it's full text available. So that's the one that I wanted to mention about one of the less used features, I would say. But they can be very useful, because if you want to focus your search, the search that we're doing now on football, if you only want to see those results that have full text attached to it, then you can select all open access, and you can limit to that, and it will limit, you will only see open access. So the further implication of open access is then, if you find an article like this one was published this year, and you click this article, there is a pop-up that will lead you to the full text, right? So here you can see view PDF. But there will also be on the right-hand side a red flag that will tell you this is a full text or a PDF that you can download. I think my internet is a bit slow, maybe that's why it's not showing. Or I can just try another one. So there are different ways that you can find the full text. Let me just see if this one is. So here already you can see it's open access. I'm selecting this one. I don't have to, I can just click on the title. So this is the little red arrow or the red pop-up that shows you where you can look at the PDF. That's the one way to find it. The other way is there's usually an option view PDF. Right. So that is all about full text. But getting back to our results, so here we have our 1,666 documents, and there are various ways, of course, that we can filter now. We can refine the search by, selecting a shorter time range. So we can say we don't want all publications, we want only the publications from 2014 onwards. And we just type in the date, and you have to always remember to scroll down, right to the bottom, so that you can, now they've moved this to the top, it seems. So you can just, you select, once you've selected it, it automatically will then filter by what you've typed in. There are other filter options as well, so by author, by subject area. So if you're interested to only see those publications that the journal is classified as a medical journal or for health professions, then you can look at those only. If you know you only want to look at review articles, then 94 review articles, then you select review, and you can limit that. That was what I was looking for. You have to select and then limit. So I just want to show you also the journal title. You can also filter by specific further keywords. So if you're not interested in publications related to female football players, but only male. You can select male as one of the keywords to add to your search strategy. Affiliations, the institutions where they're coming from, and also you have a view on the funding sponsors. So after you've done your filtering, the next function that is very useful in Scopus is to analyze your results. So analyze your results basically gives you a summary of that research field. So here you can see the first publication about football injuries went back to 1969. And then from about 2010, it started increasing, and there's been quite a focus on injuries in football. So publication, this is definitely a topic that is, or a research field that is increasing in its, it's becoming more popular. And when you hover over one of these, you can select it, and then you can open up all the publications that were published in 2012 or 2016. So it helps you to read chronologically, and also to see the trend of publication over time. If you scroll down, there's another window that shows you which are the journals that are focusing most on this topic. And you can see it's the British Journal of Sports Medicine. Of the 1,066, 81 articles were published in this one journal, right? So British Journal of Sports Medicine is an important journal in this field. It's important in the sense that the volume of publications are here. But this does not give us an indication of how prestigious or how good the journal is. It just tells us that a lot of publications about football is in this journal. If you want to know more about the quality of the journal itself, then you click on this chart. Wait, let me just click on the chart. No, I clicked on the wrong place. Let me just go back. No, just give me a minute. Internet is a bit slow, it seems. I'll just do the analyze results again and show you. If I scroll down, we were looking at the sources, the titles of the journals in this field. And when you click on compare sources and view site score, this is an indication of how important the journal is in terms of the citedness of the journal. So if you look at this, well, British Journal of Sports Medicine is not only the journal with the most or the highest number of publication, it's also the highest ranking journal in this field. It has a site score of now it is 21.3, which means on average articles in this journal get cited 21.3 times. It's an indication that it's a good journal in the sense that it is very highly cited. It has a high average number of citations per article. So you can feel confident when you're citing papers from this journal. It should be good articles, in broad strokes, basically. Then you can also see the top authors. So it orders for you who are the top authors in this field. And then you can, for instance, you can go to a specific author and find more information. So the top author in this field is Barr. Click on and then it takes you to the author profile of the most prolific author in this field, where you can see, what are the topics that the author is focusing on, the number of publications, the H-index, the number of citations that this researcher has received so far. So you get a full overview of the actual researcher that is considered as, having published the most in this field. Oh gosh, now there's something in my screen that I can't. There you go. Back to my results again. Just want to close these additional windows. And go back there where I was. And then scroll down and you can see other windows as well, which gives you this trend overview of the field where you can see, right, so the UK, US, Australia, they are the nations that are leading in this field, but there are also other countries that have published in the field of, football. So you just scroll down and you can then also select by the country. So I was hoping to see Morocco published 2 of these publications, right? And scrolling down, you can also see the types of documents here. So most of these publications are articles, and then there are also a few review articles. And that's very useful because if you click on the review articles, you can start your reading process by, reading the review articles. Just make sure that you make your search strategy a little bit more condensed, not so many publications. And then the subject area you can see is mostly in medicine, and the funders, here you can see also what is which funding organization is funding research in this research field, right? So analyze your search results. I think it's a very useful tool that we're having in Scopus because it gives you that overview of your research field. It shows you the trends and the most important researchers and countries in this specific research field. And then if we go further, then you can also you can now export this list. I would say the first thing to do always is to save your search, because you can be interrupted and you might have spent a lot of time on your, which words, which keywords to use, and you don't want to do that again. So save your search first, so that you don't have to repeat that. I've already saved my search. And then if you are happy with, your results more or less at this stage, then you can also set a search alert, so that when new documents are added for this search string, you get an email. You can choose, okay, once a month, once a week, what day of the week, and you can set your alert to be updated about new publications. What else can you do with this, with these search results? Is you can, it's, of course, you have to read the abstract. So read the abstracts, activate the abstracts so that you can see whether it's useful for you. And then also you can sort them. So we've got them by date now, so the most recent, but you can also look at the most highly cited, so make sure that you know which ones of these have been cited the most, because obviously that shows the importance of the article. And then you can select, if you've read the abstract, you can select your publications, and then you can export them. There are different exports that you can choose from. So there's CSV, RIS-BibTeX, etc. So CSV you can transform into Excel, Mendeley if you're using Mendeley as a reference manager, EndNote, Zotero uses RIS. So you can export into these different reference managers. If you select download, so the difference between exporting is, if I select, for instance, I'll show you. If you select CSV, then you export the reference only, and you can decide what components of the reference you want. So you want the author, the title, the year, the source title, all of these. If you're not using a reference manager, you must think about these, and then you can export them, and you can export up to 20,000 of these publications, in this manner. If you select download means that you are going to download the full text. So download is full text, export are the citation information. It's the reference information that you will be downloading or exporting. Sorry, export. Right. So that's the difference. Downloads are limited to 50 downloads at a time. Right. So I've only got 3 here. If I select download, it will download in the full text of these 3 articles, if the full text is available. If it's not available, it will say it cannot download because it's not full text. Right, so these are important, utility functions of Scopus, where you can download, you can export. Another important thing to do is to save your list. So as you saved your search, you can also save these results that you got. If you can't read through them now, you just save the list. And then you can go back to that list by using your profile. You go to your profile and you see, oh, here are all my saved lists or all my saved searches. And you can organize your alerts here as well. So this sign-on information is very useful. So now looking at the detail of these references that we have received, these documents that we identified. So if you click on the title, it will take you through to the page, the details page of this publication. And you will find more information here. So you can see, once again, where it was published. But now you can also see some metrics. You can see how many times it was cited. You can see the field-weighted citation impact, so relative to all other publications that have been cited. This is like 900 times more citations that this journal article got than the other, because 1.0 is the global average number of citations. So you can also see more information here under View All Metrics. And these are some of the new features that I want to show. So under More Metrics, it doesn't only include the citations that are already in Scopus, it also includes metrics about social media. So how many times was this, mentioned in a blog? And how many policy citations, how many policy documents actually used this article? How many times was it tweeted? This article was tweeted or was featured in tweets 380 times. That's significant. So if you click on this, because we get this data from a third-party data provider, which is called PlumX. So they give us this and we integrate it into Scopus. So if you click on PlumX here, you can actually see the content of, for example, the tweets about this. Here you can see, for instance, so this publication, it was used in a policy document. So the policy documents, you can open the actual policy document. So I'll just open this one as an example. So the policy document cited the article that we were looking at. So this is, of course, something that is very nice for a researcher to see when you do research and it is actually used by government to create policy, or by an international organization to create policy. That is a very useful way of showing the impact of your research. So many researchers are very eager to have their research reflected in such documents. So here you can see this was the NIH. They've got this public access policy, and they refer to this article on football injury in their policy. You can also, when I go back to the details page, you'll be able to read that blog. And you can also go to Twitter and you can actually see these 380 tweets that contained or that referred to this publication. So when I mentioned in the beginning, when we started, I want to make you more aware of these features. This is where you will find them, and how you use them is just to, it gives an indication of how the article has influenced broader than just academia. It also influenced policy. It also influenced social media. So that can be incorporated in your research as well. So from your detail page, you can also find other related publications, which you might not pick up with your keywords, but we use other, artificial intelligence to really, or algorithms, more it's algorithms, to identify other publications that are related to the one that you are looking for. And that also, helps you to make sure that you cover all the relevant literature in your field. So you can look at these related documents, related in terms of the authors that have written them, or related in terms of the keywords that they are using, right? Of course, I can't go through everything on this page. I think the main thing that I wanted to highlight is, the significance of the policy documents and also the social media. I want to show another example, which is becoming more increasingly important for researchers. Oh, sorry, my throat. And this is the last thing I want to show. Is when we do I just want to use a different example. So I can just clean that, and I can say something like malnutrition, and I'm going to use one of these operators, which means it's a fixed phrase, it's a specific phrase, and say food security. So if you are interested to find research that relate to the Sustainable Development Goals, so the Sustainable Development Goals is basically a plan that the United Nations came up with, which will help us find solutions for the biggest world challenges that we have. So there are 17 challenges that have been identified, or 17 goals, and we can also find research that is related to these goals. We use a specific methodology to identify publications. We use a keyword string, but it's quite a complex string because each of these challenges are quite complex. But you use this keyword string, and Scopus can tell us which documents are related to Sustainable Development Goals. So this is an example. When you find a publication, you do a search, for instance, just a normal search. So this is on malnutrition. We find a document here which is about food security. If I click on this publication, besides the metrics that it gives me, that I showed you just now, it also gives us information about the Sustainable Development Goals, right? So just scrolling down, so it says, yes, this publication does in fact address one of the Sustainable Development Goals, or two of the goals. It addresses goal number 2, which is zero hunger, and it also addresses goal 13, which is climate action. Right? So the Sustainable Development Goals, all the publications in Scopus are mapped to either indicate whether they address a Sustainable Development Goal or not. If it does not, according to Scopus, then it will just not show a Sustainable Development Goal on the details page. Another option to find these is to do an advanced search. I'll just show you quickly. This is not a focus, just for interest's sake. If you do an advanced search, and in the new layout of Scopus, you can just toggle to advanced query right here. And actually, this is now, let me see if it will take me. Yes. So there's my search, still my search, but if I scroll down here in the panel, where the operators and the codes are, you'll see UN Sustainable Development Goals. Click on that, and then they are numbered 1 to 17. We've got 16 of them in Scopus. You can click on one of the goals, and it will show you what the search string looks like. And you can manipulate this. You can amend this with, say, these, but now you have to use the field codes, affiliation, say, country, and we say Morocco. And then we can do a search on all the publications that address SDG 1 that were written by Moroccan authors. Right, I'm not going to do the search because it's quite a big search. I'm going to stop here and go back to my home page and see if there are any questions. I'm not understood. The first one is
Lucia?
Yes,
I can translate for you the question in French. The first question, bonjour, Scopus ne prend pas en charge la recherche en arabe. Is the Scopus containing articles or research done on Arabic language?
Yes. Scopus covers more than 42 languages, but the abstract, the abstract of the articles have to be in English. So if you have a journal which is in Arabic, and it doesn't have an abstract that is in English, it can't be included into Scopus. But we do have Arabic. I wonder if I can show that. Let me just clean this. Not sure if I can show that quickly. Where you would find all the, just reset. So basically what you would have to do is you will do an advanced search. Let me just see if that's an option under advanced search. I haven't actually searched for publications like this. Edit advanced. Right, now I'll have to come back to you to show you where a list of all these, where the languages are. But the short answer to your question is yes, we do include Arabic, but it has to, the references and the abstracts have to be in English. The article can be in any language. There's no discrimination on that. Okay. Can we go to the next question? I'll just check.
Hello, Lucia. I would like to ask if you can explain how Scopus differs from academic search engines such as Google Scholar or Web of Science.
Okay, so that's a long question. That's a whole seminar in itself. But the very short answer to this is Scopus is more related to Web of Science, in the sense that Web of Science also has a selection criteria for the journals that they index. Right? So Scopus and Web of Science are very similar, and they curate, so they select, they handpick the journals that they cover. They make sure that the journals are of good standing, and then the rest, I think, is in the detail. I think it's in the detail. There might be some journals in Scopus that are not in Web of Science, and the other way around. So Scopus, I think, is differentiated mostly in terms of that it tries to cover more journals from their emerging nations, and those include Latin America, Africa, and Asia. So there was a dominance towards Europe and North America and UK in terms of indexing research, and Scopus is trying to break away from that. We're still busy with that process. It's definitely not perfect yet. Both of Scopus and Web of Science are different from Google Scholar in the sense that Google Scholar does not select the journals that they cover. So it basically scrapes the internet. It just harvests indiscriminately any publication it can find that looks like an academic paper, and it puts it together into Google Scholar. So it's very useful because it's very comprehensive, but the difference is in the quality. You're not always sure of the quality because it might be something that's not peer reviewed, and it could also, and the other differentiator is that you have the search functionality is limited. So if you do this, I did this before we started. If you look for this search query, football and soccer injuries hamstring, if you do the search in Google Scholar, you find 21,000 publications. And there's very few ways that you can filter that. You can only filter on date, and you can filter on review article. So it's very, it takes more time. You have more articles, but you have to spend more time to find the most relevant literature for your studies. Right. So that I think I'm going to stop there. That is a short answer for what the differences are.
Thank you, Lucia. I will answer the next two questions, which are about access. I will answer in French so that it will be easy for me and for the others to understand. Donc, pour l'accès aux ressources électroniques, soit Scopus, soit les autres ressources, vous avez deux modes d'accès, soit l'accès à partir de vos universités ou les établissements qui relèvent de l'université. Donc, vous pouvez accéder à Scopus en utilisant le réseau local de votre université en tapant www.scopus.com et vous accédez. Toutes les universités sont déclarées auprès de Elsevier, donc vous avez l'accès. Sinon, si vous ne pouvez pas vous connecter à partir de vos universités ou l'un de ces établissements, vous pouvez utiliser l'accès à distance. Donc, l'accès à distance, maintenant, la procédure est plus simplifiée. Il suffit d'avoir un email institutionnel, c'est obligatoire, pour créer le compte d'accès. Donc, j'ai mis dans l'une des réponses le lien, c'est register.imis.ma/fr/register. J'espère que ça sera visible pour vous dans les questions. Donc, c'est ça le mode d'accès. Sinon, une fois vous accédez à Scopus, vous êtes appelé à créer votre profil. Là, vous pouvez utiliser l'adresse que vous voulez. Nous, de notre côté, on recommande que vous utilisiez votre adresse email institutionnelle, mais vous pouvez utiliser toutes les autres adresses personnelles de type commercial, les autres que vous utilisez tous. Donc, c'était ça la réponse à des questions de ce genre qui sont très fréquentes dans les questions-réponses. Donc, there is how I can set up alerts in Scopus to stay informed about new research in my field of interest, how these alerts work. Many questions, Lucia, are about future sessions. We certainly will see that on the details on the future session, but if you want to take some, to give some information, shall I repeat the question for you?
It's about the alerts or
yeah,
about the alerts? Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I see there are many questions. We won't be able to do all of them, but I can take note of them and make sure that we address them in the upcoming sessions.
Okay.
But just a short one on the alerts. So there are two ways that you can set up alerts. If you sign on, your profile is active, and you go to alerts. So in the alerts, here you can set up different types of alerts. So you can set up search alerts, author citation alerts. So if you're the author, you get a notification to say somebody cited you, or you can set up a document citation alert, right? So this is when the author, when any of the documents are cited, you get an alert with a document. It's the specific document that you will see an alert. The one that is most used is for search alerts. So when you have, there's my search that I did today, football, soccer, hamstring injuries. And then, so I will set a new search alert, which opens a box where I can, put all the information. I can start my search, and then I can save it, and it will save my search there. So in that box, it will also ask me, when do you want to receive your alert? So here you see that, for instance, set your search alert based on my search on every week on a Thursday, and I save that. So there are two places: in your profile under saved, under alerts, or in your search. When you've created your search, just go to set search alert. So this is on your screen when you do your search. Right. So maybe Tureya, I can just end off with, I will capture all of these questions.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I see there are many questions I won't be able to do. Thank you so much for all the interest in asking all these questions. I just maybe want to remind everyone of the upcoming sessions, and I know you will also, promote these and make sure that everyone knows about them. I apologize that we were capped at 500. I'm always surprised by the wonderful interest of the Moroccan audience, which goes over 500. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. So I'll make sure that it will be open next time for more participants. But already next week we have a session on literature review.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Merci pour tous les participants, et nous vous donnons rendez-vous la semaine prochaine pour une autre session de formation. Nous allons, comme a promis Lucia, nous allons augmenter le nombre de participants dans la session. Donc, on vous donne rendez-vous la semaine prochaine, et merci pour votre participation. Nous allons prendre note de toutes les questions et nous allons essayer d'y répondre la semaine prochaine. Bonne fin de journée.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Lucia. Thank you.
Bye.